It's from Glasgow originally.
Okay, so I'm a Celtic FC fan too. So Celtic Rangers rivalries for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so
you should have a conversation with my son. You
I think we would.
Yeah.
Well, he wouldn't be a fan of mine right now.
Why is that?
I'm a Bayern Munich guy.
Okay.
That's my main team.
He's wearing Bayern Munich shirt.
We just beat Manchester United in the Champions League.
He's got a team. He's got like 5 that he likes.
Yeah.
He doesn't like Messi, and I'm like, why? And he's like, I don't like Messi.
You got to give your son my phone number.
It's Ronaldo all the way.
Yes, we could definitely talk. Okay, so we're here to talk about What You Wish For.
Yes.
Which is the movie that you made. I'm with Nick Tomnay.
Yep.
And are you from Glasgow, or you're from Sydney, Australia originally, or where are you from originally?
I'm from Sydney, Australia.
Okay, you're from Sydney, Australia.
I was born in London.
Okay.
Grew up in Australia.
Okay.
I've been in the States for 19 years.
Okay, all right. And where are you based at in the States?
I'm in the Bay Area.
Oh, okay. All right, awesome. So you're up there watching some Golden State?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, awesome. So let's talk about this amazing film, okay? So What You Wish For kind of drives away the normal dynamic of what we see in some of the films that have been very popular around culinary arts recently. If you think of last year, right here we had The Menu, okay, where this film is completely different from anything in regards to that. So I'm always curious, first and foremost, story-wise, was this something that was brought to you, or is this something that you already had envisioned? I want to tell a story about this. So where did the original concept for What You Wish For come from?
I'd always had this idea about a character who is not happy with his life and has an opportunity to step into somebody else's identity and regrets it. Yeah. That was already something I already had in my brain. And then I'd finished a script, and I was thinking about a new project and what I wanted to make, and I was just sort of trying to feel where I was as a person and what kind of story I wanted to tell. And at that moment, I was in my early to mid 40s. Okay. And I thought, and there's something that happened. I don't know how old you are, but there's something that happened.
44.
Okay.
So, we're around the same.
That was the age where I wrote the script. Right?
Okay.
And so there's this feeling in your 40s where it's no longer potential. It's like, this is who I really am. This is it.
Yes.
This is, I have to confront this now. Yes. It's not like I'm going to be. It's like I am this. And so that notion, plus this conceit I had, plus this idea of, a big fan of Patricia Highsmith, big fan of Alfred Hitchcock. And so, I mean, I can't tell you exactly how it came to be. I just started thinking about this idea, and then before I knew it, I had this story. And sorry, in terms of those other movies, I mean, that's coincidence. I think that's zeitgeist.
It's great, though, that you say stuff like that, because you can tell with the interactions that the characters are having, which are so sublime yet so sinister in their own ways, that you can tell that there's a suspense that's being developed around the entire story. But why culinary? And you know, I'm not we're not here to give away what it is. But the thing that I'm always curious about is when you look at the theme, why culinary? What about food? You know, what is it about food? Because food drives us. Right. Food is us. Right. And we are also food. Right. So what is it about food that you knew that had to be kind of like the central thing that brought in the story, and how you were able to develop it with the culinary side of all the stuff?
Well, the way it worked with me was that I was just thinking about...
Okay, you have a culinary background at all?
Not really. My mother made cookbooks.
Okay.
She was a cookbook editor.
Okay.
That's what she did. And so when I was growing up, she used to test recipes on me sometimes, which was fun. Yeah. But that was probably not intentional. I'm more like an unconscious thing. But anyway, so so I think, for me, I think a food film, or a film centered around food, or a dinner, has a structure to it, you know, that is very ideal for a movie. Yeah. Because, you know, in this film, for example, we have a character who, at the beginning of the film, he says, well, how many courses am I making? And she's like, you're making 4. And it's so she's kind of setting the ground. And so there's already inherently in that, for the audience, there's a sense, okay, there's going to be 4 courses. This is what's going to happen. Also, it implies a sit-down experience, which is contained, which is excellent for independent movies.
For sure. It helps with the budget, I'm sure. Keeping everybody in one house.
And I think it's, look, I mean, honestly, for the way it actually worked for me was I was just thinking about this idea about a guy who ends up taking the place of another person. And I was like, well, what could that be?
Right.
So what is it going to be?
Right.
And then when it occurred, and then obviously there's another element to this that we're not talking about.
Yeah,
there has to be
it has to be.
This dark element to it. So I'm like, okay, so what is the thing and then what is the dark element?
Right.
And they have to work. And so for me, the answer was culinary.
It makes sense. I think the familiarity of it all is going to be very important to people. Yeah. People obsess about eating out and being part of society in a sense. Did you do any research in regards to like high society ordeals and like you say, like I want to piggyback kind of what you just talked about. Mm-hmm. You say it's almost like an independent dream to be able to do something involving a dinner, but independent filmmakers have headaches. They have hell they go through. There are challenges that always show up. So even in a setting like this, I'm assuming there were some challenges that you guys face. Like when you're on the set with these guys and it's so constructed, like you were saying, like how are you able to make sure that they are still being themselves? They're still really able to relay these characters out, even though it seems like it's almost in a controlled setting, if you know what I mean.
Do you mean the acting?
Yeah, like the acting, like how do you manage almost, I like to call it like herding kittens in a sense. Like it's organized chaos for a reason, but how do you contain it with keeping up the simplicity, because there is kind of also an air to your film where it's kind of talking to a higher society as well. So
yeah, I think you just hire really good people, and so I had a really good cinematographer, I had a really good production designer, I had great actors.
You gotta have a good spine.
Yeah, and then before we went and shot anything, we had very lengthy conversations, and I explained what I was thinking, and they told me what they thought, and then we got aligned. And like for example, our production designer was sending me pictures, and I was sending her pictures, and then we finally settled on some stuff, and she was like, "Oh, I see. This is like Tropical Hitchcock." and I was like, okay. But, and so for her, she was like, and then she knew what to do.
Yeah, she knew.
I wasn't thinking about it that way, but for her, that was the thing. And so then she had a clear direction, and and so then it's just a matter of I guess my role is just hiring great people, having an overall vision of when people are stepping out of bounds and saying, no, we're going too far that way. Like, for example, the character of Imogen, who was really great in the film, but sometimes she would actually go into anger, like showing the anger. Yeah. And I didn't want that. I just knew the character.
I mean, she's a powerful character.
Yeah, but she never shows outward anger. She has anger, she has anger.
Yes, for sure.
But she never lets it show. Yeah. Which is very controlled, which is very powerful. For sure. So when she actually got angry, it diminished her. And I was just watching on the screen, and I was like, and it wasn't something I thought of before. I was just watching it happen, and I was like, no, don't do that. So it was more about, for me, it was about just having a sort of general overall sense of what I felt the whole thing should feel like and be. And then when people were going out of that, I would say, no. This way.
Bring them back in. And how receptive? Were they receptive to this? Did they see like why it made sense, or was there some blowback?
No, I don't know. I don't think so. I think everybody was like, yeah, man, let's do it.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
think...
great.
I wasn't asking for them to do anything. I don't believe that was out of the ordinary in terms of, what we were doing. The thing was probably to get all the actors operating at the same pitch, tonally.
Because the setting makes so much of the film, and it's very important.
And so we worked on that a little bit just in rehearsals in the first few takes, just making sure that was going to work. It was a challenging movie to make in terms of that aspect of it, but also when it was working. I'll tell you this. I was working and I was shooting, and I had my little monitor, and there was a scene going on, and then all of a sudden it would be like, there's the movie. It would be like, bam, I could just see it. The way the camera was moving, the way the actors...
That's what we call organic right there, folks. It's just rolling.
and then it would kind of stop, and then the movie would end. And so in my brain, it was like, oh, I got 40 seconds of the movie. You know what I mean? That was happening, and that was exciting.
That's great. What is one thing that you really, really hope people take away from seeing what you wish for when they get, especially the audience here at Fantastic?
I want them to be entertained. That's the main thing, because I wanted to make something entertaining that was intelligent and was a good story, and it was a good story, well told, good performances, and it's basically the thing that I want to see when I get on Netflix and I'm scrolling.
There you go.
I want to make something as an audience.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to do. Right.
We are filmmakers, but we're fans first, right?
That's right.
And what made us filmmakers is a fan of a film first, right? So I think that's very important. The movie does a great job of the entertainment factor. I don't think there's anything at all that's going to shy people away from really enjoying the movie. So I really, really thank you so much for your time. It's been fantastic.
Yeah,
it's been fantastic. The sinister side of the movie, I think, is going to be something that really kind of resonates with some people more than I think they will get right off the bat.
Yeah, hopefully the thing is about what I said earlier about the entertainment.
Yes, exactly.
It's entertaining, but there are ideas underneath that.
A lot. There's layers, and I think once people start to invest in what the layers are of the story, just Nick Stahl's character himself, it's a shit show from start to finish. So it's great. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it, Nick. This was fantastic. Good luck here at Fantastic Fest. I think you guys are going to do fantastic down here, which is what you're supposed to do. So really appreciate your time, brother.
Thank
Once
you,
again, yes. Looking forward to hearing all the great reception of the film, and I can't wait for you guys to see my review because I think you'll like it.
Terrific. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Awesome.